Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play Cast, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, aka magicman, and this is episode 289. We're recording it on the last day of January 2019, already 1 month down in this new year. You're watching it on February 1st or later. We're going to talk Epic, we're going to talk RuneScape, we're going to talk PUBG? Mate? Wait, what? Well, let's introduce the panel, and then we'll go ahead and get to it. On the line, Mr. Jason Winter. What's up, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. My fingers are recovering. I went outside today, and they're actually recovering now. I have feeling in them. So
yeah, we're getting that icy weather. All three of us. Also
it's supposed
on the
line. It's supposed to be like 62 next week, though. Like, that's a high for Wednesday. So
right. Also on the line with actual internet, Ms. Quinlan Bowers. What's up, Q?
I think it's actually in the 60s here today.
Are you kidding me?
Mm-mm.
So you're never going to leave, right?
That was almost a less than 1 minute into the show, F-bomb right there. Yeah, so Jason and I are getting the lovely cold weather going through the United States right now. Where are you at right now? We're -3 with wind chill making it feel like it's -23. So.
I don't know. Last I saw, like the high was like 21 today, and the low was 9. I didn't see what the wind chills were.
I don't even want to hear your weather. Then that's shorts and frisbee weather.
Let me hit you up with where I grew up. It is 17 below there right now.
Oh, good.
Low today. The low today was -45.
Wow, wow, little bit cold.
I can give you an exact on mine here in a second.
Yeah, oh, I don't think I want to hear this. This is the stuff that ends friendships right here.
61.
Yeah, all right. Let me just turn Q's camera off now. All right, so
anyway, just like last week.
Let's get started and slide over with the news. I guess the cold is just more reason to stay in and play video games. So let's get to talking about them. All right, so first up today, we've got Epic Games really kind of pushing the envelope here when it comes to digital distribution. So we talked a little while ago when they first announced the Epic Games platform, and we all kind of agreed when you compare it to something, obviously its #1 competitor being Steam in the digital distribution market, we considered that, hey, they were really kind of doing some decent things for developers, right? They had lowered the costs, they were taking less revenue and all that stuff, but we wanted to see the customer service. Like, it's great to court the developers, but for something like this, you need to also court the customers, and we really didn't see a lot of that. Now that the... Q, are you all right? You're like looking around like you're seeing bats or something.
Everything is stuttering for me. And...
Yeah, she just stuttered.
Yeah, everything's stuttering on your side because we both just watched you stutter.
Got that good internet going, right?
Yeah!
All right, anyway, so back to Epic Games. You got to court the customers. We were worried about that. Now, we have seen the platform in action a little bit. Jason, we kind of dabbled in, like, the free games. Yeah, what is it, a couple games free every couple of weeks or something?
Still playing through Subnautica.
Something like that. So they're passing out the free goodies. In the weeks between coverage, we have seen some rather larger titles, Division 2, jump from... their initial plans of releasing on Steam to going to Epic Games platform. Metro Exodus switching to the Epic Games platform as well. We just saw some news that apparently automated refunds are a thing, right? When there's a price discrepancy. Q had and Jason and I were talking in the chat about an article that, hey, Epic Games just emailed the customer and said, hey, this price changed. It'd be cheaper for you to buy it today, so we're refunding you the difference. Does this stuff inspire, Jason, you to want to switch, if you're the consumer, from Steam to Epic, or is this just still yet another thing I have to have just so I can compare prices? Is it cheaper on Origin, Steam, Epic, and buy it wherever it's cheapest? Where is this platform falling for you yet? Skype is being weird. Did you just type that in chat, Q?
Pop up.
Yeah.
That-
Over your camera image. This must be a Skype update.
Okay,
I can't tell if she's frozen or
it
just
should
trying
be
to figure.
fine. I've got a
Yeah,
pink.
she keeps freezing in and out. You go ahead and take care of that. I'm going to throw it to Jason there. Go ahead.
My feeling is, yeah, I like what they're doing. I feels like, especially with the free games, honestly, that's gotten me into
Oh,
that,
right,
that made
yeah.
me download their stores. Like I said, Subnautica, I've also picked up something else they've done. And I'm still keeping an eye on that and so on. And I'm following Sergi on Twitter, getting his insights every now and then. So they're doing what seems to be an okay job for me in terms of what I like, in terms of what I think I'm interested in. But so much of it just feels like, man, they are really trying to be super nice and so great. And when they grow to be big enough, they're going to be Steam again, basically. That's kind of my feeling on it. Like they're great now, but when does it change? Oh, we're not doing a new game every 2 weeks. We're doing a new game or free game every 3 weeks. Oh, we're doing a 3 game every month. Oh, we're just going to stop doing that now. Stuff like that. When is I just feel like the other shoe is going to drop at some point. It might take years. It might be a while. There might be a good platform that people like and gets popular. But once you get big enough, you don't really have to draw on the consumer at the same level. Do you keep doing it? Just like how Steam kind of was early on and became the big monstrosity that then said, okay, we're going to do whatever the heck we want. So, yeah, I like them so far, but I'm suspicious.
I agree to a point here, but what I'm concerned about if I was Epic Games right now and is from a consumer standpoint, while all those things are nice, yeah, free game, all of us love free games, but we've all seen that before, right? Like Origin blasted free games and had a free game every X whatever calendar. Now they don't do that because not enough people came to the platform, so they just stopped doing it, that type of stuff. So there's nothing that Epic Games is doing aimed at consumers that Valve can't immediately implement if they want to. There is nothing unique or driving to me about the Epic Games run, even as a developer, right? The only thing Valve would have to do is change its prices tomorrow, Jason.
Just money. That's
yeah.
all.
On the developer standpoint, if they just changed their prices tomorrow, they would
Although-
immediately, and they're not going to. They don't need to. The
talk about visibility and so forth is also kind of an issue there. But again, once Epic gets 10,000 games on, it'll be the same deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Q, what's your thoughts so far? It looks like your internet has stabilized there, or Skype has stabilized, whatever's going on.
It hasn't. It hasn't. I actually just ran.
And she's done.
3,000.
All right. So I guess Q will be sporadically.
Changing adapter.
The Q will sporadically be appearing on today's show. Go. Figure out what's.
I
Those
can't,
on the
do any,
face
I
palm
can't
there.
even understand what you're saying.
And she's gone.
That's the best. So for those of you that don't know, like Q was going through all that internet crap and had was using hotspots and stuff to do free to play casts occasionally, just trying to make sure she was on the cast doing her thing. So she's all excited. Finally got the real internet installed yesterday, and apparently Skype doesn't want to work with it very well. All of her stats ping and download. Could be what?
My adapter. I'm not sure.
All right. Well, Jason and I will just continue here talking about
Q, draw signs.
right.
Draw signs and hold them up with your opinion.
We
can
heart
freeze on
Epic
that.
Games. We heart Epic Games. Well, so here's some other things, Jason. Not only could Valve immediately negate a lot of this headway right now, they're not going to. I'm sure they don't view Epic Games as a competition yet, right? It's just they're so freaking big. They view it as a, hey, this is a potential threat. We got to watch it. We got to do our own things to combat things. But they could literally pull the trigger on 2 or 3 things and immediately negate all the pluses of Epic Games right away. So you've got to be concerned if you're Epic Games from that standpoint. The other standpoint here is people are actually getting into legal trouble over this one, Jason. And I don't know if you saw this, but Metro Exodus, they're getting ready to be sued over them dropping Steam and switching to Epic Games, because a number of things happened. Not only did Valve not know about it and stuff, but consumers didn't know about it, and they've been selling those collector's edition, like, physical copies that aren't really a physical copy. They come with a Steam key. And they were advertising it as a Steam key and everything for all this time, and then pulled the trigger on a Switch, and people are pissed, right? And this one, actually, to me, has a little more relevance than suing over Canvi missing. But at the end of the day, when you advertise something, if you don't sell that something, you deserve to get sued. But I think this is, this would be like, hey, we're gonna you want to pre-order a copy of my game on the PlayStation 4? Oh shit, we're going exclusive Xbox One after I have the pre-order money. Maybe not as extreme, because we're talking PC digital platforms and not individual consoles, but I think they have grounds for being really upset here, Jason.
I think you have grounds for being a little upset. I don't know about really upset, because obviously the example you gave would have required, a $300, $400 console for you to buy differently.
Right. And this is nowhere near that extreme.
Or even if you were talking about like a store, like if you pre-order something from Best Buy and they said, well, no, you can't get it from Best Buy, you have to get it from GameStop, you have to go to a different store, which is maybe available or not. So I get that. Here, yeah, there is the slight inconvenience of having to download the other download Epic Games instead of Steam.
Right, but don't misunderstand though. I'm not just talking about just that inconvenience. Epic Games that's a platform, a launcher that supports always online DRM.
Okay, well
where Steam it doesn't, and Metro Exodus, despite whatever modes they may have, is predominantly known for being a single player game.
Okay, yeah, if that's the big difference, then that I could understand being an issue. Do I think it's legally an issue? Do I think they can actually get sued for it? I don't know. I sort of feel like the choice should be, well, I would say give them their money back and let them reorder if they really want to or something, but no one's ever going to give you the money back. But
right.
I mean, what else do you do other than that? If you're concerned about, at the very least, I agree. It's if I had, even though I've used Epic Game Store and I've used Steam, if I had pre-purchased something on Steam, and now I've given them the money, that's gone, and I can no longer get it there, and I have to go to Epic, I'd be a little pissed off about that. That does seem like a little bit of a bait and switch to me, especially after you've already taken my money and told me I'd get it one way.
Right.
Don't think I'd sue necessarily, but unless it was a game I really absolutely wanted, had to have, I would want to try and cancel my pre-order and get a refund.
Epic Games taking the war with Valve to a totally new front, too. So, a while ago when we were talking about loot boxes, we saw that Dota was making a change to their loot boxes in that you could see the contents of the next loot box, but you were stuck with that until you bought it. So you were essentially gambling on loot box number 2. Will the second loot box contain the stuff that I want when the one that's being offered to me doesn't have anything that I want in it? Kind of trying to sidestep Belgium's, initial loot box things, but all it did was push the gambling to the second loot box instead of the first one. So you still had to buy the first one, even if you didn't want to, just to see what was in the second. So Epic Games and this is we're particularly talking about Save the World Fortnite here, so the PvE game. Yeah. Just to be specific, this is the Save the World PvE game that sells the piñatas, the loot piñatas. They're now doing kind of an X-ray too, Jason, where you can see what's inside the piñata, but they've put their own little twist on this one, didn't they?
Yeah, the big difference here is that they reset what your guaranteed results are every day. So if you don't like what's in the next piñata, you can just not buy that day and go back the next day and see what you're going to get. Then you can buy that one, and that'll reveal the next one, which you could buy that day if you like it or not, and do it the next day. So it certainly is more generous, I think, than the Dota 2 situation where you can actually reset it.
So it doesn't. So it appears to me that they take the gambling away for those of you that want to get a loot box a day. There really is no gamble at that point. You log in every day, see what's in the loot box. Do you want to buy it or not? It's kind of like a 24-hour flash deal, now in that respect. It really only becomes the gambling portion now if you're somebody that wants to buy multiple loot boxes per day, because I don't think the X-ray just continues, right? It's only on that first box, isn't it?
Right. You can't review multiple at a time.
Right, so you're not going to buy that one and then be able to see what's in the next loot box that you're going to buy. You'd have
Well,
to
wait, hold on. No, I don't think that's right. I think you could.
Well, that's why I'm asking, because I'm not
I thought
quite.
you said I
What
can't
happens
buy
after you
5.
buy? So if I look at the X-ray llama, and I like the things that are in it, and I buy it, do I still have another X-ray llama coming up for the day, and I could just keep going?
I do believe so. Let me see here. Because I thought you were saying, could I buy 5 loot boxes and see what all 5 of them are?
No. Well, what I'm essentially asking is, could I do that if I did that one at a time?
I believe you'd see. Because it says you can no longer purchase multiple V-Buck llamas at the same time.
Right.
So you can't. So you have to buy them one at a time. And let's see here. I had to change before and understood some of the way till the next store refreshes. Yeah, I mean, it says if you just have to buy them one at a time, then I imagine that is how it works.
That it just keeps showing me along the way.
Yeah.
So really, it's just keep buying until you find one you don't want, and then you wait 24 hours to see what's in a new one, and keep buying as long as you see ones you like. I mean, it essentially is. To me, it's not even a loot box anymore. It's a flash deal sale, right?
Kind of. What I would do is I'd like get enough cash or whatever or V-Bucks to buy one, and then I just check every day. When I get that one rare drop, I'll go ahead and pick it up, I guess. just wait until I get the super rare or whatever, which will probably be. Now this is the thing though, and I don't know if they've done this, but the thing that's always got me about when you talk about any kind of attempt to equalize or make loot boxes more fair, the thing they can always do then is just change their rarities, because they never tell you that.
Right.
So right now, suppose that before this change, the rare thing came in like 1 out of every 20 or so boxes. Well, now they can kind of tweak that and say, hey, look, we're being so nice. We're letting you do it this way. But now the rare thing is 1 every 50 boxes, but we're not telling you that. So it's like, maybe they're doing that, maybe they're not. But that's always the thing. They can always try to bring in the roughly same amount of money no matter what they do. So.
Q, it looks like you'll get about 8 words in before you'll freeze. So what do you think of the new X-ray pinatas? And now she's muted or something too.
Thumbs up or thumbs down? What do you think?
Do you like them or not? Thumbs up. All right.
Thumbs up. All right. There we go. All right.
Q gives the most ridiculous free-to-play cast ever.
Do we have 2 cans and a string we can get to her?
Right. All right. Finally, before we kind of move off of Epic Games, but they did have quite a bit of news this week. The NFL uniforms are back, Jason. Who are you buying this time around?
Nobody. I don't like either of those teams.
All right. Good. So, but this one is kind of limited. What's going on here?
I don't know. Whatever. Actually, it says what it said in the blog post. I was wondering about this. It says the outfits are available starting February 1st at 7 p.m.
Yeah, this is for the Super Bowl this weekend.
Yeah, for the Super Bowl, you get white Patriots or white Rams jerseys. It doesn't say when it ends. It didn't say that on the site, and I was like, well, till when? Till the game is over? Till Monday? What, But also on the 2nd, starting at 7 p.m., you can get a free pigskin toy. That's... And
these are in addition to all the other NFL uniforms you can already
starting
buy.
Saturday, my bad. Saturday at 7 p.m.
Yep. This Sunday the 3rd, the Super Bowl.
Because Sunday
at
7 p.m., you should be watching the damn game.
Yeah. Right. I guess, if that's your thing. If either of these teams are your teams, good luck. Have fun. Moving on. Jason, one of your companies might be for sale.
My company? Do I own part of JAGEX?
You are a big fan of JAGEX. You love JAGEX.
Wow, news to me.
You love them. No, I say that because Jason's done a lot of interviews and things with the JAGEX team
they're
and things
decent
like
guys.
that.
Yeah,
and has worked with the team a bit more than he is a RuneScape fan or anything like that. But they could be looking for a new owner. And now this is the time where everybody panic. And oh my God, they're going to be sold to some Chinese company that you don't know, you've never heard of, and there's going to be problems. Like they already were back in 2016. That already happened. Everything was fine. Now they're going to probably another Chinese company, I would guess, at the end of the day, that it's probably going to be like a Tencent or some company that comes in and scoops them up. And they're not even like super for sale. They're kind of testing the market right now. That's kind of the feel I got from Fukong, which their statement is Fukong Interactive has issued a regulatory statement to advise the Chinese financial market that it is planning a major reorganization and is considering sale of assets with the partial or full sale of JAGEX as a potential option. A sale of assets is one of multiple routes Fukong Interactive has available as it restructures, and by making this initial statement to the market, Fukong can now begin exploring such options. So it was a regulatory thing. They wanted to keep a sale as an option for their reorg, but to do that and see if there was even any interest, they have to publicly state that so that they don't get into any trading issues and financial issues and things like that. So who knows? Do you think Jason, to me, it's got to be Tencent, right?
Not necessarily, because again, Fukong was someone we never heard of. They were, what was it, like their holding company, or was it like the Chinese mining? Was it the Chinese mining or the Chinese chicken company? I forget.
Or Leu Games, or Leu.
Yeah, Leu. They talk about that for Warframe.
Yeah.
Or again, there's going to be probably about half a dozen other big companies out there that we've never heard of that might be trying to do it. So I don't automatically go the Tencent route or NetEase or someone like that, but especially considering those companies have their own issues with the Chinese. Actually, I wonder if this is related to that, to the whole. Well, no, because they're not really making a new game.
Nah.
They don't need approvals, but yeah, I just wonder how much a Chinese company is willing to invest more in a game company at this point. So
well, so here's somebody had commented a little bit of concern here, and maybe not all that crazy when you think about things, right? And I'm not going to read their whole comment. Rickshaw's posted, once China has a hold of anything Western, it's placed into internal investigation through its government's strict monitoring, who watch and use all data received from Western companies, and then goes on to make, some political statements, which we'll skip for the sake of the show not being political. And Rickshaw, you're certainly entitled, and I'm not censoring your opinions. Your opinions are yours, just not the forum in this particular show. But I don't think the concern, Jason, comes from a huge standpoint of, oh my God, they're going to ruin my game. I think there is some certain validity into what Rickshaw's talking about, where Chinese tech firms don't generally have the most noble reputation for data security, copyright violation, gathering of data. And so when these Western games do become ownership of them, there's a lot of industry in China that's very much in bed with their government. And all of a sudden, granted, I'm not giving Digital Extremes any information I particularly care about, but I don't think it's a ridiculous concern to say, once these companies get beholden to their Chinese company overlords, maybe there is a cause for concern on the data side of things occasionally.
The question I have is, does that data actually go through the Chinese company? Like technically, when I log into Path of Exile, I'm logging into their servers, which are probably located in North America, and they communicate info to New Zealand. Do they also communicate info from the servers to someone in China for Tencent? Does that actually go that way, or does Tencent just own them as an investment? I don't know. I don't have the tech knowledge or whatever, but I'm not certain that my information winds up in a Tencent server somewhere, is what I'm saying. So.
Yeah, see, here's the thing, though. Every single one of those games has that whole EULA thing in there. So, like, I'm going to read you...
And also GDPR.
Right. Well, that doesn't apply to us here in the United States, though.
Sure.
So, we're asked out there because Europe likes to occasionally look out for their citizens, and the U.S. is... most of the time doesn't. But here's from Warframes, right? Number 4 in their EULA, consent to monitor. When running the software, Digital Extremes may monitor your use and play of the software and collect data regarding your use and play of the software in accordance with Digital Extremes' privacy policy found at URL. In addition, the software may monitor your computer's random access memory for unauthorized third-party programs running concurrently on the software, so trying to detect bots and shit like that. Okay. An unauthorized third-party program, as used herein, shall be defined as any third-party software prohibited by Section 2. In the event that the software detects an unauthorized third-party program, the software may communicate information back to Digital Extremes, including, without limitation, your account name, details about the unauthorized third-party program detected at the time and date, and Digital Extremes may exercise any or all of its rights under this agreement, with or without prior notice to you, including or without limitation, termination of this agreement, and your right to continue to use the software. And then there's also disclaimers later in their thing about sharing all their information with third parties, obviously being most of the time the companies that own them. And while you all might say, hey, Mike, that's just about bots, man. If you ain't cheating, you don't have to worry about it. We have written numerous stories over the last few years where benign programs or things that weren't even programs got flagged as bots and personal information was snagged off computers. While I am not accusing Digital Extremes, JAGEX, Tencent, anybody we're talking about of doing anything of like this, I'm simply saying that maybe something like what Rickshaw is saying here isn't totally crazy to be thinking, because it happens, right?
Maybe not totally crazy, but at least some percentage of crazy.
Oh, God. Wow.
Need your tinfoil hat?
I do, man. Hey, I worry about my personal information. I worry about what the digital world's going to look like when my kids are older. It's already a mess now. So I do worry about things like that. I'm very careful with shit I even just post on my own personal Facebook. You know, cropping out
by the time your kid's old enough to care, you'll be computerized, digitized inside a computer yourself. You know?
This is your father, very Max Headroom.
Or like Q trying to talk.
Oh yeah, or like Q on the free-to-play cast. I want to talk about loot boxes. Q, can you even hear us?
Give us a thumbs up. Oh, wait, is she actually writing? She's actually writing.
It's going to show on the screen if I've got your... Oh, wait. You froze with the glare. Some! All right. Yes. She has heard some of the cast. I think it is more amusing to have you on than to just tell you to hang up. Well, that, and if you hung up, it would totally screw up Jason's picture frame. So don't hang up. If it doesn't fix, take some notes and let us know what you think on the next one. JAGEX, for its side of this, has said, hey, everything's fine. We're just, business as usual for us. Right. We're making money. If it sells, if we get sold, we get sold. You got to do a preview this weekend, Jason, with a game that you've been looking forward to, but you've been tempering your excitement because there's a couple elements you're still not sure of. You got to check out Conqueror's Blade in a lot more detail than just your previous combat previews. So you've seen essentially guilds and all kinds of stuff. Are you still excited?
I am, but like you said, I'm kind of tempering it a little bit. Want to wait and see. I think they have the good system down. I think they have good, systems rather. It should be a great way to, make some friends. You get them together, you go and raid the enemy castles or whatever, or you just go out in the world and collect loot. But there is, that concern always that it is going to be a very open world, very much, enable PvP when you're outside your realm, when you're in dangerous lands and so forth. And so I kind of compared it a little bit to something like EVE Online, which, a lot of people don't play.
Yeah, and niche,
Yeah, it's very niche, very much smaller thing right now, and in large part because, I think part of EVE Online is the fact that it's kind of sci-fi. Even when I played a little bit, the controls were a little wiggly on me, so I had trouble grasping it. This will be a little better because it'll be, more like a third-person medieval fighting thing, which I think we're all a little more used to. But then, yeah, you get into the social aspect, economic aspects of it, and you do wonder how they're gonna work those. Is it going to be the sort of thing where if I set 2 steps outside my safe territory, 20 people are going to gank the hell out of me, and I'll never be able to go anywhere? Or is it going to... But I want at least that chance to be there. Mm-hmm. I want it to at least be a little bit risky. So if you go out a long ways, you should bring some friends along, or at the very least, make sure you find some safe path where you can go. And there should be reward for doing that. There should also be reward for finding other people, fighting them, and taking their stuff.
Right, but I don't want to get slaughtered and lose days of progress. And we see those EVE stories, to your point, where billions gone.
Yeah, I mean, from what I can tell, from what little bits I've gotten, I feel like it's going to be more like whatever you go out to get. Like if I go out to try and say I'm going to gather a bunch of ore or whatever, I go out and do that and I come back. It's like a 15, 20-minute run or whatever. If I get killed there, I think that's when I'll lose all the ore that I gathered. So that's what I'm going to lose. Maybe a little repair cost on my guys to heal them up. I don't think it's going to be a lose weeks or months of kind of that sort of thing. I don't think it's going to be on that level. Even if someone attacks your castle or your city and blows it up or whatever, I think you still have some chance of recovering from that. But then you have to kind of go the other route. You have to make it so, okay, is the only way to profit to just do random battles that have basically no risk in it. So
right.
Yeah, you got to wonder exactly how they're going to figure all that out. And probably it's going to be messed up. When the game actually launches or at least goes into open beta, the numbers are probably going to be off. The exact risk reward is probably going to be wrong.
Yeah,
they're
either winning too much or losing too much, one way or the other.
Yeah. On that said, though, I mean, I really like the promise of it, and I think it's got a lot of interesting stuff that I would be into. I've always wanted to have that kind of like territory control medieval game, kind of like when I played Total War or Crusader Kings or something like that.
Well, that's what I was going to say, that this is very much in that strategic combat Total War type vein.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, anything I get in my mailbox with that type of thing immediately goes to Jason, even if it's people sending over the Total War codes and stuff. This is Jason. I don't even claim them on my stuff. I'm never gonna play this.
I like how Luis sets me up with like wargaming stuff too from time to time.
Yeah.
But I mean, the
immediately goes to Jason. Now there's a ghost floating over Q. What is that? You see that?
Yeah, I do.
Oh no! She's morphing. Q can teleport. She was sitting back in her chair and then morphed to the forefront of the camera. My God, that was frightening. Q, make sure you get ready and write down your D-bomb and A-bomb so that you can put it on the screen. By the way, if your camera is on the screen, if you type into Skype, it will flash in front of you. So if you have short little things you want to say, just go ahead and type them instead of writing them. It'll just pop up right where your camera is. No swear words, though, because if you're on frame, it's there. Don't... God, Q, she's doing the ghost thing again. This is freaky.
It's like some bad 80s music video. Just kind of flash around with different colors and teleport. Now she's
just like, nope.
It's also going to pick on me, yeah.
All right, before we slide over and get started with the weekly bombs, I do got to say, Jason, why has this taken so long? You will know if you watched the show last week. Oh my God, I closed the show notes because I'm an idiot. We talked about games that we thought had a shot to go free to play this year, and one was notably not on there that maybe you could have argued, hey, will that go free to play this year, or could it? We didn't think it would. I still to this day don't think it has a chance in hell of going free to play, at least not this year. But I'm surprised that they haven't done something like this earlier. So PUBG, not going to go free to play in my book, Jason. I think you agree. Not likely to go free to play, even with the tremendous free to play competition pressure that it's under. I don't think it's likely to do it. But they are finally, at least in Thailand, only in Thailand right now, putting out a PUBG Lite free to play. Now it's limited, Jason. It's only got a couple things in it, right? But are you surprised they haven't done this a long time ago? This kind of seems like a no-brainer worldwide. Do a PUBG Lite, and if you like that, it's a no-brainer to suck up $20 to $50 for one of the boxes, right?
Now that I'm actually thinking about it, isn't PUBG Mobile, is that free to play or not?
I don't know. I mean, I would assume so.
I would think. I mean, it's a mobile game, duh. Let me see, Google Play Store.
Yeah, I might just get a download link, so I would assume so in some... Yeah, because then they sell Royale passes.
Okay, so at least there is some sort of PUBG, free to play, but this is on PC.
No, yeah, I'm not talking about the mobile stuff.
Sure. So this is on PC, and yeah, I agree with you. I'm a little surprised they haven't done some sort of, at least some way to try to chink into that Fortnite free to play loot. And they say this is basically a test run to what do they say? Let's see. Well, primarily doing it to bring the experience to players in areas where the core game's required specifications are more difficult to achieve due to hardware available. So in other words, not in America, we're all rich and have our $10,000 PCs, whatnot. Although, like I said in the article, my old PC wouldn't run PUBG. The one I had that ran pretty much everything except PUBG and Breach.
Right, but I totally get that as okay, well, in Thailand it might be harder to get these particular specs. We want to sell some product there, so let's put a little free to thing, and you can buy these things. Yeah, I get that too. I'm just talking more globally. Why haven't they done a demo version, PUBG or PUBG Lite, and it's one map and everything? And yeah, you're probably gonna have a lot of people that never buy the software, but they probably weren't gonna buy the damn software anyway. And Battle Royale players, if you've got more maps and more this and more that, and it's gonna cost me $20 or $30, and I've played it for 15, 20 hours on the one map and I like it, I think it's a no-brainer. Put a little... You're getting so much pressure from free-to-play Battle Royales right now that are eating up the market share that you once had. I kind of feel like this should have happened as Fortnite started to take off. Here's a free PUBG Lite, and if you like it, give us $20, $30, $40, whatever bundle you want to buy.
Well, I think they only added the second map just a few months ago, right? Like about middle of last year. So I can sort of see that. You wouldn't want to make it a one map. Like otherwise, without going a full free to play, how do you make a limited version? So
they really only have 2 maps.
I think so. Or did they add a third recently? But they had only one for a long time. So I could see at least to some degree why they wouldn't have gone with a free to play one map version. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they're still making enough money. They're almost like like World of Warcraft on some level. Is that sure? They're not as big as they once were, but they're still bringing in a ton of money, getting people to pay for it.
Yeah.
So they don't maybe feel the
I don't
necessity.
think they're going free to play. I don't think they should. They don't have any reason that they need to right now. But I'm amazed that game has never had some type of trial demo or anything like that. Maybe they have, and I've just missed it, and if so, this entire subject is for naught, and tell me about it in the comments below. But obviously, it's not free to play, and you all know I'm not Battle Royale crazy, so I wouldn't know. Let's slide over to the weekly bombs. Q looks so bored. He's just sitting here listening to us ramble.
Q, if you need to, go check what's in the oven.
Yeah, we had to delay the show. What were you making? You were making something and it needed 20 more degrees or something like that. She's like, "Can we do the show in 5 or 10 minutes? I need 20 more degrees. Oh, on my chicken. I needed 20 more degrees on my chicken."
All right.
It's like oh, nice for jambalaya. It's like we're on Sesame Street. The way that pops up there, it's like, "Bwah, chicken." Bwah. This free-to-play cast is brought to you by the letter...
the letter Q.
The letter Q. Well done, Jason. Well done. This is brought to you by the letter Q. All right, so weekly bombs. I will go first. It looks like Q's typing, so I'll leave her camera up there. Oh, no, she's not. Okay, good. I'm going to go first, and I'm going to give an A-bomb to Trove and its mysterious emergency server maintenance. Ooh. A few days ago, Trove was pulled offline for about 4 hours when it was all said and done across all platforms. And the initial announcement was, we're bringing Trove for the PC offline for emergency maintenance. We apologize for the lack of advance notice. No ETA for coming back online yet, but we'll post updates to this thread. And they did continue working for, and I guess I apologize. It was only PC. I thought it was all platforms. Team continues to work on resolving this. Still going to be out. Still investigating the current issue. Still investigating the steps to resolve the issue that prompted us to come offline. Do you notice, Jason, that there is something mysteriously missing from these updates? Alluded to, but never specified? Investigating the current issue. Investigating the current issue. Working on steps to resolve the issue that prompted us to come offline. Finally, when it did come back online, chess clubs, officer chess, and trading posts were temporarily disabled, and they're off until next week, sometime so sometime this week. They'll post an update when they'll be enabled again, and then finally they were put back online and they apologize for the inconvenience this unexpected downtime caused. Multiple people obviously asked in the forums in response to all of these, could you tell us what the issue is? Could you tell us what the issue is? Could you tell us what the issue is? That was never answered. Not in, a clear sense. Compensation was given, so great, fantastic for Trove players. But there is speculation on what this was, Jason. Do you remember last year there was a little duplication thing that happened that kind of led to this same scenario?
Yeah, we actually had rollbacks, I believe, as well.
Yeah, looks like we're not going to have the rollbacks or anything on this one. It may not even be the same thing. Who knows? But it is kind of weird that they didn't even say after the fact. Hey, we're not going to say it's a duplication bug while we're trying to fix it. Okay, fine. I mean, your servers are down, though, so...
Maybe you need to get back to your Gamigo communications manager and have them actually communicate.
Right. So, Gamigo, congratulations. You have, in the process of buying Triumph Worlds' assets, you have also bought their bugs. So, have fun. Q, did you write down your A-bomb, or dub-bomb? It's a thumbs up.
Dub-bomb.
All right, go ahead.
Dub-bomb. Oh, but charade. Do it with charades.
I was going to give a dub bomb to my internet, but... Fantastic. So an A-bomb to Q's internet. Go ahead, Jason.
I'm going to give a double A-bomb. First of all, related. First of all, to Battlestate Games, the makers of Escape from Tarkov, which is a pretty popular shooter. You might have seen. You may have seen news of it like about a month ago, when they DMCA'd a YouTuber who spoke negatively about them.
Yeah, I think you gave them an A-bomb back then, too.
Okay. Well, I like giving A-bombs to people who abuse DMCA, but they said they'd never done that before, except for this other guy who's just come forward and said, yeah, they did it to me, too. So they've got... And the best part was that apparently it wasn't so much them. It was... what was it? It was an associated company... Copyright submitted 8 months ago by Absolute Soft, a company that was developing some parts of Tarkov. That's the representative from Battlestate.
Here you go. Here you go. Check this out. Man, I'm good. Free-to-play cast, episode 286, recorded on 12/20 of last year, 12/21 air date. Jason, A-bomb to Battlestate Games for DMCAing a YouTuber's Escape from Tarkov videos.
Okay, well, they apparently...
Jason, you are nothing if not consistent.
I don't even remember. When a cast ends, I completely forget what happened in it.
Lucky for you, I don't.
Wipes it out of my head. But anyway, this company, Absolute Soft, which was working on Tarkov, wasn't Battlestate, except that it's owned by like the lead developer of Tarkov. So,
wow.
But that's only one of my A-bomb. My other part is that I was reading the article about this on Polygon mostly. I look at the comments. People there are like, well, maybe this YouTuber should get a real job. But A-bomb to you guys, because one of the guys he talked about said he had like, actually I think he was talking about a Twitch streamer who's having more issues. He said he had like 5,000 or so subs, but they're going down now. That 5,000 subs a month is like $15,000 or $20,000 per month. I would love to have that, not a real job.
Right?
That person is far more successful than you, screaming in comments about them not having a real job. So basically, F off.
From the viewers, Lee Gold calls us out and says that we need to look for new jobs.
Oh, God, I didn't even realize I was there. I swear I didn't.
Says we need to look for new jobs because Fallout 76 made a lot of money and still is look it up. This is your job, do it. I could have played Guess Who game with better odds of getting things right. I don't think any of us disputed the fact that Fallout 6 made a boatload of cash. As soon as you put the name Fallout on it, it's gonna make a boatload of cash. My question would be, who's gonna buy it X months from now? That's... and by the way, we gave it a 6 out of 10. So just slightly better than a coin toss. And honestly, it's the type of game that I would always give a coin toss to going free to play. Because at some point, this type of game always goes free to play. I don't think, regardless of how much money you make up front, that would change things.
So
but
two
that's
things
fine.
two things I have to that is he says look it up. Okay, where? Show us where he says how much money Fallout 76 has made. So
Well,
do that.
Yeah, no, yeah, there's ways you can extrapolate that type
Well,
of data,
sure,
if
but
not
because some
exactly.
guy on Reddit says it made a lot.
Yeah,
That's
well, no, and I don't disagree with him. Maybe it's not going to go free to play. We put it at slightly better than 50-50 odds, 6 out of 10.
I mean, not like a game like it's not like Star Wars: Old Republic. That sold like 2 million copies right out of the gate. So that made a lot of money. That would never go free to play.
Right. I don't think the comment of it made a lot of money bears much on the opinion, but respect the rest of the opinion there.
No, I don't respect it.
Bless Online, I made, relatively speaking, by our incomes, a lot of money, and couldn't hold on to being anything but free to play. Breckner Catalan, so I'm just going to take this one too in Q spot because it kind of goes with what we were saying here. Breckner, a little more on our side of the opinion, I guess. Who's going to buy Fallout 76 in 6 months? And I think that's kind of where we were looking when making a prediction about what would happen in 2019, not a prediction based on their sales last year. So we got both sides of that spectrum. Go ahead, Jason.
Squeezy says, dub on to Monster Hunter World's 1-year anniversary. It was my first game for the Monster Hunter franchise, and I have no regrets pre-ordering the game. That's pretty good to have no regrets from pre-ordering something. I got to give you a dub on for that. Also, A-Bomb to Warframe, as much as I love the game for reworking Nyx and still not making her fun to play with.
Womp womp. Hydrex Sky Shadow says, dub bomb to Rainbow Six Siege Montaigne. I know it's not a free game, but this is probably my favorite character I played in any competitive game ever. It's the only person that has pretty much trolls the enemy team. If you don't know, he has a huge indestructible shield, so you can just need to stand in the middle of the doorway and stare and hope your team does the rest. For me, at least, and you can't look away from me for too long because I'm like the weeping angel, but scarier. And if I'm close enough, I'm going to beat the ever-living shit out of you with a 60-kilogram shield just because I can. Speaking of weeping angels, Q's got that whole ghost weeping angel thing going on with their camera again. It is very, very creepy. Go ahead, Jason.
Nintendo says, pal from Army owes me 150 euros for a laptop I sold them. I should file a lawsuit. Haven't seen him for 7 years.
You should. File it.
There you go.
Do it.
A-Bomb to Epic. Competition is good for the consumer unless the competition is an anti-consumer game store that pushes all control to the developer while pooping all over the customers. What Epic's doing with exclusives contract is not creating competition. They are creating the exact opposite. They are shooting themselves in the knee. Are they taking arrows to the knee? No, wait, that's only on Steam. Shooting themselves in the knee and shooting their customers straight in the face, and they are happy doing so. Currently, all they archived is making Valve, and I think he means achieved. All they achieved is making Valve and Microsoft get pissed and make an enemy out of gamers. Good job. Hope the slight bit of more money per sale makes it for the probably mediocre sales numbers. Dub-bomb to EA. Wait, A-bomb to Epic and dub-bomb to EA. This is like Bizarre World.
You ran the upside down.
Keep failing and shooting yourself in the head. Use a bigger gun. You might get further, but we heartwarmingly thank you for getting rid of yourself. Just make it faster. And Mike, thanks for mentioning Daybreak again. There's a single day I want that hole to close doors for the $100 they owe me for promises in a game that never existed. And it's a shame that my girlfriend just walked out of the room because I could get a rise out of her talking about the $100 she spent on Landmark too.
Me too. Me too. Excel Kobayashi says, since there seems to be some confusion about Guild Wars 2's release cycle, I don't think we had confusion. I think I offhandedly said, isn't it about time for another Guild Wars? And you kind of said, no, they got an expansion coming before they're going to do a Guild Wars 3 type thing. But just to clear up any confusion, if we did have any on the release cycle, Excel Kobayashi says, we're just about done with Living World Season 4, but they've already announced that Season 5 is coming next. Then we should expect the next expansion after that.
Okay, that is a point I was wrong on. I didn't know they were going to do 2 seasons in a row and then have an expansion. So,
okay.
Okay.
Okay, so you did make a comment that... All right, okay,
yeah,
good. I thought it was just more maybe a general thing, but perfect. Thank you, Excel. Go ahead, Jason. Finish it up. I love this one.
Exxon says, why can Mike burn when winter can't freeze? Yeah. I played with my fingers earlier. My fingers were freezing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, now I get it. When Mike burn. Oh, okay. I didn't get that part.
You didn't get it until Q said punny, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I I got it on my own. I got it on my own. Just a delayed reaction, okay?
Oh my god, I love you people. I love you. Question of the week last week: is the future of esports in trouble as a whole? Why or why not? Some long answers here. I think I might cut Hydrex's down a little bit, but there are some good points made, so let's just read it. Oh boy, this ended up being way longer than expected. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it, Hydrex. I don't think the esports are in trouble. Yes, there might be problems to the competitive side of some games, but not the industry as a whole. I mean, my god, StarCraft still has a living and breathing esports scene. Something we mentioned last week. The thing is, it's not going to bring as much money as sports do. Basketball, football, baseball, those bring a lot way more money than games do right now anyway. And besides, to watch sports, it's easier than watching esports. It's not hard to understand basically what's happening on the football field, but you need to know Dota 2 when you watch the Dota 2 Championship. It's absolute nonsense, a mishmash of colors. If you never played the game. So the audience is way smaller. And even so, there are way too many games that try to go for the big esports scene like it's the only important thing. None of the games that are big money makers in esports were intended to be esports. StarCraft was the biggest RTS. Dota and LoL, which come from the mod for Warcraft 3, CS was pretty much an in-game to have fun with your friends. LAN game, I'm sorry. Well, my screen is scrolling for some reason. I'm turning into Q. The problems with the Borg, they're taking over everybody's computer. Oh my god. A LAN game. CS was pretty much a LAN game to have fun with your friends. Biggest problems, in my opinion, are the greedy devs that look for a way to exploit the competitive side of the game for money instead of making the game good enough for the players to have long-term, I think is what you meant, interest in the game. The esports are not going anywhere in the age where games are coming out on a daily basis. Then Hydrex, you also threw something on YouTube, so I added it here. You commented everywhere. Thank you. I'm just going to leave this here. Heroes pretty much lost to Dota, League of Legends, Smite, and H1Z1 lost hard to Fortnite and PUBG, so it's easy to see why they backed out. Lots of good points there, Jason, and I ended up reading the whole thing because I think one of the really intriguing points was one I had never thought of is the big players in the esports scene. They weren't created with esports even remotely in mind initially. There's certainly a validity to some of what Hydrex is saying there with the bigger esports players.
But then you also go on about how, you don't... But then he also says, the biggest problem are the greedy devs that look for a way to exploit the competitive side instead of making the game good enough for players, which kind of feels like the opposite. It's like you're saying, well, originally they weren't made with esports in mind, but if you make it with esports in mind, you're being greedy. So it's like, which one do you do? I don't. To me, that feels like I kind of go with the first approach. I think that's the better one, to make it without esports in mind.
I agree.
And it grows into it, because that's what you think about. Again, when he talks about traditional sports, like no one. I don't think whoever made up baseball thought this is going to be a thing where people make $25 million a year playing. It's going to be on TV or whatever. Obviously,
right.
They didn't have TV in the 1850s or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of grows like that. I think that's probably the better way to do it. But you kind of look at what's been done, and if you're going to mimic that with a newer game like Overwatch or something, it makes sense to at least try to put some of that stuff in there. So,
go ahead, take the next one.
Nintendo says esports is the same. It always does. It rises, it falls down. Around 2003 or 2004, we had that as well with the World Cyber Games, which I've never heard of. I have to look that up. I don't go back that far. CPL World Tour and such, with Counter-Strike 1.6, FIFA, Quake, Painkiller and such. Times where Jonathan Wendell was still active, Blizzard and Roman were the best 2-on-2 team, Okrana was still around, MTW, Mouse, SK Sweden was the first team to be able to go live from the esports alone. Esports won't ever die.
I think live from esports alone.
Able to live. Okay, yeah. Esports won't ever die. It will lose a bit of interest, but eventually go back to popularity and possibly beyond. I guess to think of it even that way, I remember back in, I think like 96 or 97, they had a Magic the Gathering tournament, like something they showed on ESPN2 at the time. And being big into card games back then, I thought, oh wow, this is it. Magic's on TV. This is going to be the big thing. And I mean, 20 years later, Magic is still around, still has big tournaments, but it's not this well-known, everybody knows about a thing like baseball or football or whatever. So, yeah, maybe that's the same sort of thing. It's always going to be around,
Yep.
but it's going to be a smaller
cycles in and out.
Yeah.
Squeezy says esports won't be going away anytime soon. Blizzard and Riot are downsizing their esports scene because they tried to reach an audience that doesn't want/care about online games, and the revenue wasn't what they expected. Hey, we can certainly at least say that is absolutely the case with Riot. They were pretty forthcoming with exactly why they were pulling some money out of that. Question of the week this week, although Nintendo, I don't know what you're going to do. Your weekly bombs jumped all over this question of the week, so you're going to have to find something else to say next week. What are your initial thoughts on the Epic Games Store now that we've had a few weeks to get in there, check it out, see some plans come to fruition? Could it potentially ever replace Steam for you? And I know initially this is going to be something if you use it, we're going to have installed Steam and Origin and Epic Games and this and this and this, and then I know initially, but could it ever replace Steam for you? And if it could, what would it have to do to be that grabbing for you? Because so much of our libraries is tied up by that company right now, Jason, that maybe you could convince me to never buy another thing on Steam, but I think I'm still always going to use Steam.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So let us know your thoughts in the comments below. While you're there, make sure you give us your weekly bombs. D-bomb for something good, A-bomb for something bad, or just your thoughts on the show. As you can see, we are more than willing to put comments here that disagree with us or agree with us there. And we'll talk about those too. Until next week, Q, where can everybody find you? On right there, the Twitter thing there, at Quintlin Bow, at Quintlin. Jason, what about you? On Twitter at Winter Informal and streaming on twitch.tv/Jason Winter. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there on Twitter at magicman1. But more importantly, while you're there, follow at MMOBomb so we can tweet at you all the latest in news, giveaways, interviews, first look videos, free-to-play cast, free-to-play weekly, and so much more. Until next time, gang, stay safe, and we'll see you on the servers.